If you're tired of living in America and you want to move abroad, here are 5 countries that you can move to where the cost of living is lower than 15.
All right, so here we go. Here's a review. This is what Thomas Manuel, another top five list um, of where we should go abroad. Let's see how it is. Expat D. I live this lifestyle, so I'd be very interested to see what they think. Now, $1,500 a month. I'm not sure about that. These are always remember when you look at these top five lists and how cheap you can live in a country. It's very subjective. You know, each person, like their lifestyle and like how they spend their money, it really depends on the individual. So always keep that in mind whenever people say things like $1,500 a month or $1,000 a month. It's always something to keep in mind.
$100 per month, and that's everything included: food, accommodations, transport, everything lower than $1,500 a month. Next up on the list, we have Vietnam. Now, Vietnam is one of the cheapest countries in the entire world for digital nomads.
All right, so Vietnam, that's definitely been there. Been there a couple of times. Nice country. So that's one, like if I had to live off a cheap budget, I definitely consider Vietnam as one of the countries. A lot of motorcycles there. A lot of motorcycles, really loud.
Nomads, where you can spend as little as $800 a month for everything included. But on average, most people will spend anywhere between $1,100 to about $1,300 a month living in cities like Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh.
But yeah, I agree. I think my favorite spot there is probably Da Nang. You're not gonna find as many jobs there, depending on what you're doing. I think everyone likes to be in that beach area, but it's definitely a cheap country. I agree with Vietnam being on the list.
Next up on the list, we have Thailand. Now, most people, of course, know about Thailand. You can live in
Yep, definitely, Thailand. For me, if I did a list, this would be my number one. Thailand, what they do really well, it's very cheap, but also you're not skimping on things. Like you're able to get good hotels, good Airbnbs, nice malls, nice restaurants, all that stuff. You don't feel like you're cheapening out. So definitely, I put Thailand number one, but definitely this needs to be on the list.
Chiang Mai, Bangkok, and on average for all of your monthly expenses, you'll spend anywhere between $900 on the absolute low end, all the way to about an average of maybe $1,300 to $1,400, and this is living very comfortably in Thailand. Next up on the list is a place that a lot of you guys may know me for, which is Indonesia, and more specifically Bali. Now, the one thing I will have to say about living in Indonesia is
Okay, Indonesia. All right, I haven't been there. This is probably next on my list. But definitely, I heard a lot of good things about Indonesia.
Bali isn't the only island in Indonesia that you can live in to live affordably. You can stay in Lombok, you can stay in one of the Nusa Islands, you can stay on one of the Gili Islands. There are a lot of different places all around Indonesia that you can live, so it's not just Bali. So a lot of people do complain about Bali being too crowded and too expensive. There are a lot cheaper places to live, and I think the first few months I was living in Bali, I only spent around $1,100 to maybe $1,200 a month for everything included. And at number 4, we have Colombia, which is
Okay, Colombia. Now, Colombia, that's one not too far from the U.S., so that's an advantage. This is a lot closer than the other three he had on the list, so that's definitely to consider. Colombia. I just know you hear some safety things about Colombia that you don't hear Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia. So that's something to consider. I haven't been there, so I'm not sure to what extent this stuff is true. But I've been hearing a lot about that for years.
an amazing choice for a lot of different Americans. Not only is it super inexpensive, but also it's super close to America, which makes it easy for commuters. And then also too, the time zone difference is only a couple hours from most of the U.S. So really, you can work on a U.S.
Yeah, that's something to consider. Time zone. I agree with that. So if you ever have to make phone calls and business calls, things like that, you're in a similar time zone. That does help.
Schedule if you're working remotely, and it's super easy to commute back and forth for friends, family, or whatever else you have to do. And on average,
Okay, that's 4. I wonder what's going to be number 5.
If you stay in Medellin, if you stay in Bogota, you could easily spend under $1,400 a month for all of your living expenses. And finally, we have the current country that I'm living in right now, which is Spain. Now, of course,
Spain. Okay, I don't know. I haven't been to Spain, but some people I heard that I know might be calling cap on this one. But I don't know. He lives there, so he's definitely got to be the expert on this one.
living in Southeast Asia and South America is a lot more cheaper than living in Europe, but Spain is a great option with cities like Valencia, Barcelona.
If you think if you're calling cap too on Spain, definitely put that in the comments. I don't know, I've never been, but seems like it'd be a little bit more expensive than what he's saying, but I don't know. Like I say, when it comes to money, that's everybody's individual, everyone's individual pockets. I was kind of surprised Spain's on the list. You know what's interesting? I never find an African country in anybody's top 5 affordable countries. Now, I don't know if that has to do with the fact that you may find it cheap in Africa, but then there's certain things that you may find expensive. Africa is not that travel friendly. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you want to go to Ethiopia, and then you want to go to the neighboring country. Let's say you want to go from Ethiopia to Kenya. Okay, it literally would cost the same price to fly all the way to Dubai than it does just to go to the next country over. And I'll tell you what else. They'll make you go all the way to Dubai sometimes as a layover just to circle back and then go to the next country over. So those type of things I think will kind of leaves Africa off these lists, but I never see it in nobody's country. Nobody's top 5, I never see Africa listed.
Madrid that are super affordable, and on average you can spend anywhere between $1,200 to about $1,500 a month for all of your living expenses, and it's a
all right, I think that was a pretty decent list. I wonder in the comments section, do you have a different list for your top 5? I'm Expat D. I've been living abroad since, or back and forth out of the U.S. since it's been a while. Actually 2004, that's when I started my journey. I've been back and forth. I make content just on what it's like being an expat. This is a pretty cool list. If you want to check out my channel, it's Expat D. So definitely check me out if you like this type of content. If you like to learn about living abroad, definitely check me out. This is a pretty cool list here. And yeah, definitely check out my channel.